I am just a hot mess today. Nothing was going right. I couldn't get a damn thumbnail to work. All of my tech has been failing on me all day. I blame this Eclipse. This damn Eclipse. Causing everything just to be all out of whack. What the hell's going on with this world? I think we're all losing it. Everyone's going nuts with the Eclipse. Eclipse this, Eclipse that. Eclipse your face. What's up, everybody? It's Eclipse Watch 2024! Everyone's going nuts with this damn thing. But as you can see, from my view, you can't really... I'm not going to be able to really see it. Maybe it's a good thing because I don't know how it works with cameras and stuff. I don't have proper filtering or anything like that. But we will get to see at least a shadow cast among my area of New York. Whenever that's supposed to happen. I don't know when. I'm over here on this Nassau feed. NASA, not Nassau. Nassau County. I'm not talking about that. But here they're showing Mexico. They keep showing Mexico. Why are they always showing Mexico? Look at this. It's kind of pretty actually when you look at it. Is this the day I'm finally going to get myself some superpowers? Every time Eclipse happens, you know, I'm just like, all right, when am I going to get my powers? I want to be like Hero and travel through time, you know? Or am I going to have a chance to fly or absorb energy? But this is the NASA feed in Mexico. They keep showing Mexico. But I'm going to keep an eye on this feed. And an eye on the window. Just to see how dark it gets outside. But what's up, everyone? It's me, Renee, and I am here. And
I'm going to come.
Yes. So I didn't go live this morning because I was thinking, hey, you know, it'll be a great idea if I went live during the whole Eclipse thing happening in New York, which is supposed to happen like around now-ish, right? I think. Or it's supposed to start around now-ish. I don't know. But when you look outside, wait for this to refresh. Yeah, it was a little sunnier earlier, but it is starting to get a little dark now. So I'm assuming like within the hour, it's going to get really dark outside. You know, even though there's hardly any clouds in the sky or what have you. So I'm waiting to see if anything happens. Because there's a lot of conspiracy theories going around on the internets, if you didn't know. And I want to share some of these conspiracy theories with you, or at least one that I came across. You know, first, like I always said, whenever there's an eclipse that happens, I always wonder, am I going to get superpowers? Am I going to like finally get some abilities to turn invisible or to teleport, travel through time, absorb energy, you know, never die, like the cheerleader from Heroes? I don't know. But other people think that the eclipse will trigger a massive human sacrifice event. That's right. You heard it here first, folks. So according to this article on Bro Bible, there is a conspiracy theory about this, which is so ridiculous to me. I think this is just really, really silly. But here it says, the fact that an eclipse only happens once every 10 to 12 years or so makes it a perfect event to connect to some outlandish predictions. For instance, the next solar eclipse to be visible by any part of North America will be in 2033, but only over Alaska, while the next total solar eclipse to be visible to the entire United States won't happen again until 2045. One conspiracy theory making the rounds on the internet claims that a massive human sacrifice event will take place today during what they are calling the Great American Eclipse. This theory, which began in a post over on Reddit, is quite a doozy. All right, get out of here, all these fucking ads. I'm pretty concerned about this Great American Eclipse on April 8th, the person wrote. The line from the solar eclipse of 2017 and the line from one upcoming on April 8th creates an X very close to the New Madrid fault line. If something were to trigger that fault line, something man-made they could make look completely natural, it could mean a serious loss of life disaster for the US. An earthquake on the New Madrid fault line could be up to 20 times larger than an earthquake with a SoCal epicenter. Now, for those of you who remember, we already had on the East Coast, Northeast here, we already had our little earthquake event that happened on Friday. It happened during my live stream, like in the morning, and it lasted like 30 minutes. It was a 4.5 on the Richter scale, which is, nothing to sneeze at, but at the same time, it's not huge. But we already got it. So was that like a precursor of what we're expected to get today? Let's continue on with the article. Taking the line for the annular eclipse or Ring of Fire from October of this year and the upcoming solar eclipse creates another X over Texas, not far from Tesla's Gigafactory. X marks the spot, apparently. Speaking of X, Elon Musk changes Twitter's name to X. His baby's mother, Grimes, posted a strange image on Instagram before the vid that literally told us that the vid was going to happen all the way down to the 3 injections. They continued. In that same image, a few rows beneath the vid prediction is a solar eclipse. Under it, a flower between 2 dragons. 2024 is the year of the dragon. The lotus flower begins blooming in China on April 8th. The eclipse is happening today on April 8th. That is way too many coincidences for me to feel comfortable. Along with the Deagle projection of a 225 million person decrease in the US by 2025, it would appear some massive sacrifice could possibly be in the works. I'm quite certain they all have some bunker or safe spot away from the damage. There's being paranoid, and there's knowing how blatant and aggressive they are with symbolism. I urge everyone to find a place to be out of harm's way on the 8th of April. We cannot trust these psychopaths. Got all that? I mean, it's crazy. This is very crazy how the internet can come up with things like this. The city of Carbondale, Illinois also sits at the center of another X, as it will be the second time in 7 years a total solar eclipse will have passed over that town. Why is this important? Because on average, a total solar eclipse would normally only cross the same location about once every 400 years. According to Atlas Obscura, conspiracy theorists believe that a seismic event will be triggered when the eclipse arrives in this part of the state known as Little Egypt, killing hundreds of thousands of people. Honestly, the article concludes at this point, it might just be safer to not leave the house on April 8th. So that is why I am here. That is why I am here watching this damn thing and, streaming it live here, because you never know what's going to happen. You never know what disaster is going to come about. Who knew what happened on Friday was going to happen on Friday, right? I don't really believe in a lot of these conspiracy theories and all, but I thought at least that one was pretty entertaining for the most part. So yeah. So I wanted to share that with all of you, and I just find it completely Hilarious. Really, really damn funny. So we go back to the NASA feed over here. Look how gorgeous that looks. That looks amazing. That really, really looks amazing. Um, I remember the last time I saw one of these. Was it 10 years ago? I guess it was. Um, the people I worked with, uh, we kind of hunkered up together in the roof, and we all had like those glasses and stuff, and we saw it from the roof. And it happens really fast. Like you don't really realize like how quickly these things like pass over each other. It's like when you look at clouds and you see how clouds move in the sky, you don't really realize how fast that can be. Um, so we really had to like pay attention to it. We're so busy yapping and talking and stuff like that, that when the moment happened, like we're like, all right, everyone shut the hell up. We're looking at this damn thing. And it happened. It was cool. It's cool to see. Like when I was in school and there was something like this, yeah, I did the whole pinhole in the box thing. I was like, oh, that's kind of neat how that works. So, but now, with all the technology, all the ways to see these things, now you could just like go on YouTube and look at it and see a feed from NASA and see what happens. Um, you know, but right now, the view from my window, so you could kind of see like how the shade is changing a bit, So you could kind of see how earlier, like about 2 hours ago, it was very bright and sunny. And now you could kind of see like there's something definitely obscuring the sun because the way that the light is being cast on the area outside. So it's neat. It's cool. There's no feed I can get anywhere online that is a New York direct feed. NASA for some reason keeps showing Mexico. Now it's showing Arizona. I think it was showing Texas at one point. So, and the one feed I did find that was pretty much New York, New York. It's from Niagara Falls. Like, who the hell cares about Niagara Falls, Like, Niagara Falls. Then you have the AP feed over here, which is like this is so not helpful. You have Niagara Falls, Mexico, Illinois, the infamous Illinois, that could be potentially in the epicenter of human tragedy, according to the conspiracy theory. All these people will be first to witness it, I guess. Let's go live here. So I don't know what she's saying over here. She's having fun. This is Niagara Falls down here on the bottom. Yeah. So people are really going nuts for this thing, huh? It's pretty crazy, pretty wild. So we'll continue to keep an eye out on things to see what happens with humanity, and if everything's gonna go to hell when when the eclipse finalizes its trajectory and all. Take one more look outside my view, and I don't know if we're gonna get complete darkness. I think we're gonna get slight darkness, but not all the way. So we'll see what happens. But until then, let's talk about some stuff. So, I mean, if you're new to this, I'm sure some of you are coming on here because I'm going to talk about WrestleMania. Well, this weekend was a interesting weekend. I mentioned on Friday that I wouldn't say I'm a diehard wrestling fan. I am a casual fan, but I always keep up to date with everything that's happening. Whether it's through recaps, news reports, what have you. The one event that I never miss every year is WrestleMania. So this past weekend, WrestleMania, the 2-night event happened. And I have to say, by far, probably one of the best WrestleMania events we've had in a very long time. I couldn't even remember the last time we got a very good WrestleMania event like what we got this past weekend. Saturday night was great. It was fun. There were some things that were kind of like, all right, this doesn't make sense, or this is just like filler moments, right? Just to kill time between all the major stuff. But it prepped us for what we were going to get for Sunday. And Sunday was like the ultimate night of WrestleMania. It was so exciting. It really felt like old school wrestling. You know, you had your uh, big outcomes. Some people were expecting, some I think were not expecting. It started off that way with a major surprise at the beginning of the show. And then the ending was just this all out, all star craziness that I wasn't expecting it to turn out to be like that. And I think it drove everyone nuts. And of course, it ended and all culminated to the fact that Cody Rhodes finally can now say his story has been completed, right? Like the story is, it's all about the story, and he finished the story, and he finally was able to do it. But the way that the whole thing was set up, I mean, them pivoting really saved their asses, and it showed, and it all came to fruition over the weekend. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, ever since what was this? Ever since the whole Vince McMahon thing and the selling of WWE to TKO, and the change of management and ownership and all that, the bring on The Rock to the board of directors, during all of that, there was a crazy thing that happened because it looks like, you know, last year they had Cody Rhodes with Roman Reigns. Cody lost. So a lot of people are wondering, all right, is this going to be a year of redemption for Cody? You know, and it seemed like that's what was happening. And then at WrestleMania, I mean, at Royal Rumble in January, typical thing happens. Whoever wins the Royal Rumble has a title shot for WrestleMania. And, you know, Cody Rhodes won the Royal Rumble. Then it came out that The Rock looked like he was inserting himself into everything that's happening within the WWE now that he is Mr. Board of Directors. And it looks like he was really pushing for a Rock versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. And it got to the point where it looks like that's exactly where it was heading to, where you had Cody Rhodes, The Rock, and Roman Reigns in the ring during, I think it was Raw, Monday Night Raw. And Cody kind of handing over the match to The Rock. And kind of just like accepting the fact that it looks like we weren't going to get the rematch that we were all hoping and expecting to see. Cody Rhodes was not going to be able to complete his story. So that's what it kind of looked like. And the internet blew up, and the fan backlash happened, and everyone was really pissed off. The Rock got so much heat from it all. People were turning on The Rock and everything. Everyone was speculating that, oh, this is all The Rock's ego and this is all his doing. Then we heard little bits and pieces that, no, maybe it's the parent company that now that he's board of directors, they have some expectations and they want to sell more tickets to WrestleMania. So The Rock is more of a bigger main event than Cody Rhodes could ever be, blah, 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 this and that. But every show that happened after that moment, you had tons of fans in the audience booing The Rock every moment they could. And they knew that they had to do something. So they finally decided to pivot. And the pivot was, all right, let's not make it Rock versus Roman Reigns. Let's see how we could intertwine all of these things into a major story that still has Cody Rhodes involved with it. So they finally brought in the whole thing that, well, you know, The Rock is part of this family lineage that Roman Reigns is a part of. and they had this whole bloodline family tree thing, and you could see where Rock's family belongs in that family tree. Roman Reigns' family belongs on that tree. The rest of the bloodline, like like the Usos, Jimmy and Jay, Solo Sokoa, all that stuff, right? So they're making a plea that this is family, this is us, and Cody Rhodes has nothing to do with this. And then Cody comes in, it's like, well, it's my right, I won Royal Rumble, this and that. And then you had Seth Rollins coming in and saying, yeah, this is all BS. The Rock is inserting himself in all this crap. I can't take it anymore. You can't get away with that stuff. And they turned it into, well, let's have it so that I'm going to team up with my cousin and to team up against you and Seth Rollins. Night one. If you win, you get your title shot with no interference, very clean, all this kind of stuff like that. But if we win, bloodline rules. And if you lose Sunday night, you're never going to get another shot again. So those are like kind of like the stipulations and all that stuff. And whether or not you liked that at the time, you knew that was what was going to happen. It was either going to be that or the thing I kept saying that, oh, watch them try to do like a 3-way match or something like that. But they did it, and it was executed. And on Saturday night, I knew going into it, I knew there's no way Cody was going to win that match. No way in hell. And it was right. He lost. So that's why it made Sunday must-see TV. Because what's going to happen? How are they going to screw this guy over again? Right? And they did everything they could. But at the same time, Cody had a lot of people show up to back him up. And it was crazy. You had, at first it looked like it was just going to be a straight-on one-to-one fight. Kind of no disqualification, only pin, count out and all that kind of stuff like that. And then you start seeing the people coming in, the bloodline interfering. Jimmy was the first one to come in, and then Jay comes out from the back, takes on his brother, takes him out, right? Then you had Solo Sokoa come in and really try to interfere, right? And then John Cena shows up, and everyone just went crazy because no one was expecting John Cena to show up. So John Cena shows up, takes out Solo Sokoa. Then The Rock comes in, right? And of course, he has to stand up for his cousins and his family. Takes Cena out. And then it was literally out of nowhere, The Undertaker shows up. And I was like wondering, well, what does The Undertaker have against all of this? But The Undertaker looked pissed as hell. He really did. And he took his frustrations out on The Rock, takes The Rock out of the equation, right? And then finally it gave Cody a shot. Oh, and plus you had Seth Rollins trying to come in dressed up as, his Shield counterpart and all that. If you know the story of the Shield, and then, it is what it is. He ran proper interference. But because of all of that, it took away all of Roman Reigns' backup. And now Cody had a shot. And, with all that said and done, after 3 finishers, Cody finally won it. And it was a celebration. You had everyone coming out celebrating. And it was so much fun to see. It really was. It like I said, it reminded me of like old school wrestling. Not so much, not like to the peak of like Attitude Era, but it just reminded me of those times. It really did. And it was so entertaining. And the whole night was entertaining. I mean, the fight with Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre for the championship there, it was a tough battle. I was happy that Drew McIntyre won because this guy has been, working his ass off to try to get a championship. And then they screwed him over which is so funny how Damian Priest finally, after what, 18 months or something like that, cashes in his money in the bank finally. And thanks to CM Punk, who like kind of interfered by kind of like taking some shots at Drew McIntyre. Well, it's Drew's fault. He kept like going after CM Punk, who was just commentating at the time. But then it was like a quick five minute thing, and then all of a sudden now Damian Priest is the champion. And that was like so much fun. I was like, what? Are you kidding me? Totally unexpected. Totally unexpected. And that was just like crazy stuff. And then the rest of Sunday night was just nuts. The again, I keep saying this over and over again. I don't like the Logan brothers at all. I mean the Paul brothers, sorry. Logan and his other brother. I don't like them at all. They are two of like the vilest people on the internet. But that being said, Logan Paul knows how to freaking wrestle. And this dude, every time he shows up at every event, he really works his ass off. And for someone who's not like a full-time wrestler, it's insane on how good of a wrestler he is. And the match that he had, the three-way match with Kevin Owens and, you know, good old RK over there, Randy Orton, was a damn good match. And it was very entertaining. You know, and I love how he brought up his boy, another YouTuber, I Slow Speed or something. I don't know. I don't know these people, man. They're all crazy. You know, and how he tried to interfere and they like took him out. I thought that was great. You know, the women's championship was fun too. Really fun to see. And now Bayley is back in the mix as champion. So that's really awesome. And it was, yeah, Sunday night, last night was just a lot of fun. And Saturday had its merits too. You know, it really did. There were some things that I was just like, okay, this was just done because we were trying to put this person on top. Like the whole Jade Cargill match. I mean, there was really no purpose for that match, with the exception of, okay, here's Jade Cargill, brand new woman wrestler that we've been talking about for months, and she hasn't done anything. So we spent all this time to kind of make her a persona and then make her have an entrance and, you know, do this thing. And now they teamed her up with two other people to kind of help her get into things, because it looks like she's not in shape, in proper trained to do solo matches yet. So they're teaming her up with other people. And the match that they had was just the purpose of getting her shine, getting her out there in front of people, right? Getting her feet wet. You know, so I was like, all right, that's kind of cool, but at the same time, it wasn't necessary. No real stakes. Then they had like a 6-way tag team match. That was a ladder match. So now the tag team championships are not unified anymore. So now you have a Raw champion and now you SmackDown champion, and they're two different teams now. Because before it was all the same one team, you know? And that's cool, but I do feel like the one weak spot in the WWE right now is their tag team division, because honestly, I don't care about any of the tag teams that they have at all. Not like how it was back in the day. Like there were a lot of interesting tag teams around. And now I just feel like it's people just teaming up with other people. And it doesn't, there's no cohesiveness, there's no like theme or anything like that. And I think they're really trying hard to correct all that. But as of right now, like it doesn't really fascinate me. It's not interesting to me at all. The other women's championship with Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch was cool too. It was nice to see them go toe to toe. But I think with Becky Lynch losing, I think she's going to take a break from the company for a bit, because it looks like she's, you know, promoting her book and she might be interested in doing other things. So, and I think the same thing with Seth Rollins, who happens to be her husband. So he lost his championship. So maybe he's going to take a little break too. Plus that dude's injured all the time. So I think he needs some time off to fix himself and what have you. But yeah, overall, I mean, and plus it had its like corny moments too. Like Snoop Dogg was there last night, and he was doing his shtick on the commentary thing, which was mostly entertaining, you know. But it's just funny how he's such a part of WWE. Lil Wayne was there on Saturday night, and he was just awful. It's like I don't think he knew where he was for the most part, and I feel like that was just a waste to have him there. There were no other like really majors. Oh, they had what was it? The Kelsey brother, not Travis, obviously the one who's with Taylor, but his brother, like showed up with another Philadelphia Eagle guy to interfere with one of the matches with who's that? The Luchadors there, Rey Mysterio, his match. That was fun to see and all, but that was pretty much it. So I mean, this is an interesting era. Oh, and it was so awesome that Sunday night started off with Stephanie McMahon coming back. She hasn't been on TV or with the company in a very long time, because she left because of, she was having some differences, I think, with her dad and all that. And now that the dad's out of the picture, they had her start WrestleMania, which was freaking awesome. And she had a great reception. And the way she talks to the crowd, man, it was nice to see her back. It was really, really nice to see her back. Who knows if she's going to stick around for a while, but it was just really nice to see her back. And I know she gets a lot of respect in the locker room and all. So I'm sure everyone backstage was really happy to see her back. But yeah, they're calling this the Triple H era, the Paul Levesque era, and who knows? But for right now, it's looking really damn good. And it's definitely putting the WWE back on the map for sure, which is really interesting to see. So yeah. So WrestleMania was just a lot of fun. A lot of storylines that are now happening, that are changing, that are now going to be moving forward. You have to think about it. Roman Reigns was champion for, what is it, like 100 and something, like a long time, man. He was champion for a long time. He surpassed the reign of Hulk Hogan. That's how long he was champion. And now that ended last night. You had who was it? The Continental Championship of I forgot his name, but he was the longest reigning champion too, and his reign ended. Now you got Sami Zayn, who's the Intercontinental Champion now. So he had these long tenured people who were champion for a while. They finally ended. So now we have this new reigns coming in. Io Sky is no longer champion. Now it's Bayley. The tag teams, now we have new tag team championships. So it's really interesting to see. I'm so curious where these storylines are going to go. Again, I don't watch it on a week-to-week basis. I'll just watch the recaps. So we'll see what happens. I think the next big event is going to be Backlash, where it's going to be in France, I think. So who knows what's going to happen between now and then, but it's exciting. I have to say, it's exciting to watch wrestling again, and I think they're doing a good job with all the storylines. Plus, you just have a lot of great talent right now that are really gelling well, and the chemistry is so good right now. I just hope, after it's all said and done, I just hope like Sami Zayn's championship run won't be cut short, or Cody Rhodes is going to lose it again, or Damian Priest is going to lose it within a month. I just hope it's not going to be like one of those things. We'll see how long they all last, but it was a lot of fun. It was so much fun that 2 hours after last night events ended, I went back and rewound it so that I could watch that final match all over again, because it was just that good. It really was. And to hear the crowd lose their minds was fantastic. It was so much fun. It was so good. Oh, what's up? Star-Lord's here. I'm so sorry. I didn't even see the chat for a while. Can't wait for Tyson versus Paul fight. I saw wrestling, but just some highlights. Yeah. I mean, they did a really good job on the YouTube channel to really make sure that a lot of the highlights were there as soon as they can put it up there. So for those who weren't able to see the live event, um, they were very quick to put the highlights there on the YouTube channel. So it was really cool to see them do that. Um, all right, let's see where we are at outside. So I have a feeling we already saw the peak darkness that we were going to get here in New York. I mean, it is kind of dull, right? Let's go back to NASA's feed. I don't know what they're showing this time. And it looks like they're showing this is either Arizona or Arkansas. I don't know. But that's a nice view, isn't it? That's really nice. I still don't feel anything. I don't feel any powers, raining over me, washing over me just yet. So I'm still waiting for that to happen. You have this. Let's go to the AP 4-camera thing that they got going on over here, where it looks like the main focus now is Texas. Look how dark it is over there at Mesquite, Texas, because they pretty much have like full coverage over there. We didn't get that dark here, from what it looks like, or from what I've been showing. It really depends on where you are. But Texas, looks like they are really getting it dark over there. Much darker than we're getting it over here in New York. Star-Lord, if you're still there, were you able to see? You're in Louisiana, so I don't know if you had a chance to see any of the eclipse or if you guys got any kind of effect from it. Because from here, it looks like it's already starting to pass over. But like I said, it did over here. We're not getting it as dark as what it seems like they're getting it over there in Texas. So, but it's interesting. It's really interesting to see. All right. So again, we'll keep an eye out on what's going on eclipse wise. I want to see if humanity does come to an end, as the conspiracy theory was going around saying that. I still can't believe that. It's so stupid. The internet, they're nuts. Every single one of them. Star-Lord, we just have cloudy, crappy weather. Okay, so it just looks like crappy weather on your end. All right. I mean, over here, at least it's semi-cloudy, but not cloudy enough so that I'm pretty sure if I went out there and I looked up, I could see it. I just don't have those glasses, and my camera, I don't have the right filter for it, so I don't know what damages would happen if I were to just point the camera up there. So I erred on the caution of I erred on the side of caution. Let's just say that, because I don't want to mess anything up. So yeah, so my weekend was pretty much just WrestleMania, Saturday and Sunday. I mean, you're talking about like 3 to 4 hours every night, right? So my days were just trying to catch up on chores and all that stuff. So not much other outside than just, you know, dedicating my time to watching WrestleMania. But those who didn't watch WrestleMania and were looking for something to do, I'm sure they all went to watch a movie outside. And most people went out to watch Godzilla Kong again, or for the first time. I don't know what it is, but let's check out what's happening with the box office breakdown. Weekend box office, talking about numbers and money that I'll never see in my life. Yeah. All right. So, as I do every Monday, I'm going to be recapping what's happening at the weekend box office. We had a couple movies new coming out, But it didn't matter because Godzilla Kong, for 2 weeks in a row, stays at number one, pulling in 31.2 million this past weekend. 61% drop from the previous week, but still did pretty well. 134.5 million domestically so far. If you look at the global box office number, 361.1 million, which is pretty good, I think. And I think it still has time to do a lot more the longer it's out. The new movie that I saw last week and that I really love is Monkey Man. 10.1 million coming in second place. And I think this is way below expectations. I think a lot of people were expecting this movie to do a lot more. However, I think the problem with a movie like this is Dev Patel is not a main star yet. It's not like whenever a John Wick comes out, everyone knows who Keanu Reeves is. Whenever you have an action film that stars Jason Statham, or even if you have an old school star that comes back like a Schwarzenegger or Stallone, or even the Fast and Furious franchise, people knows Vin Diesel, and anything The Rock does, people are going to go out to see those people, no matter what. Dev Patel, majority of homes, majority of people who watch movies probably have no idea who he is. And if they don't know who he is, they're not going to go out and support that guy. Even though I thought this was a great movie. It really was. I rated it 5 stars out of 5 on Letterboxd. But if you're an action fan, maybe you gave it a shot, and it looks like some people did, but I think the lack of star power in this film really caused this movie not to do great. And pretty much below expectations. I'm hoping word of mouth will change things, and then maybe in this coming week, we'll see some numbers change around. We shall see. The first Omen movie just came out, and now we have an Eclipse. People thinking about ghost UFOs and Bigfoots. I'm telling you, I don't know if you were here when I started the stream. I read an article about one of the big conspiracy theories about this eclipse, and how a lot of people were expecting the end of humanity, or a big slap to humanity because of today's eclipse. So I don't know if you have time to go back, or if you want to go back later. It is crazy what people are thinking about today. Just to recap it, something about when the eclipse hits a certain point, it's going to be right above a cross section that is a major fault line, and that could cause a major catastrophic earthquake event equal to what you could see in California or greater than that. Also, there's a place in Illinois that they saw an eclipse pass over their region twice in very short period of times, which is rare for that to happen. So they're thinking that something major is going to happen over there that could also be a huge catastrophe. It's insane. It's really insane. It cracks me up, but I'm here. I'm waiting to see if anything happens. I'm waiting to see if I could finally get my superpowers. I'm a huge fan of that show, Heroes. Well, at least season 1 of it. So I'm waiting to see if I'm ever going to be, able to travel through time, or if I'm going to be able to phase through things, or withstand, whatever, or fly. I'm waiting for all that to happen. So that's right. Trumpet sounds in the sky, giant cloud rings. Everything's happening today. We're going to see maybe, tornadoes ripping through areas that don't normally get tornadoes. You're going to see typhoons and tsunamis, cats and dogs living in harmony, mass hysteria, all that stuff. Let's go. Speaking of cats and dogs, mass hysteria, line coming from Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters Frozen Empire falls down to 3rd place with a 42% drop from last week, which already suffered a 60+% drop. only pulling in $9 million this past weekend in its third week out. 88.8 million domestically so far, 138.1 million globally. I think Ghostbusters, we have seen what Ghostbusters can do, and I think it's pretty much done. And it's not looking good for this movie in the long run. But hopefully it's successful enough that we're still going to get something. But I think another movie may be in jeopardy. Maybe it's time to kind of consider either taking a pause or bringing the franchise to streaming and maybe making a show out of it. I don't know. But yes, as Star-Lord alluded to earlier, Monkey Man wasn't the only new movie that came out. The first Omen also came out, coming in fourth place, 8.3 million. I've been hearing a lot of good stuff from people who've seen this movie. I mean, when it comes to horror movies, I'm not a huge horror fan. I do watch them on occasion. This one, I'm just like, maybe I'll wait. So nice to hear that, people are enjoying it at least. Coming in fifth, you got Kung Fu Panda, 7.8 million, 166 million domestically so far, 410.4 million globally. Again, this franchise is not going to be going away anytime soon. Dune Part 2 fell down to sixth place, was in third last weekend, pulled in 7.4 million, 265 million domestically so far, 665.4 million worldwide. I said this from the very beginning. I did not think this movie was going to join the $1 billion club. I think at best it will do 900, but it looks like its sales have stopped. It looks like it is slowing down. I don't think it's going to do anything past 700 million globally from what we're seeing. Someone Like You. I don't know what movie this is, but it came out thanks to Fathom Events. 2.9 million domestically. Let's see, what is this movie? Oh, is this another faith-based movie? Looks like it is. Karen Kingsbury production presents Someone Like You. It sounds like another Hallmark-like film. But anyway, so that came in seventh. Eighth is Arthur the King. That's that Wahlberg dog movie. From Lionsgate, 1.5 million, 22.2 domestically overall so far. Immaculate, Sydney Sweeney's horror movie, fell to ninth, 1.3 million. We have a lot of horror movies out there right now. 14.1 million domestically so far. In 10th place, we have Wicked Little Letters. What is this? Holy cow, what am I looking at here? You have Olivia Colman, Jesse Buckley, and the rest. I've never even heard of this movie. What is this? Is this for real? Well, whatever this is, came in 10th place. I guess it was out limitedly and they just increased the amount of theaters. Yeah, they included it in 997 theaters this past weekend. So I guess that's how it moved up a little bit there. And then some other notables here. Late Night with the Devil fell out of the top 10, 1.1 million. Then you have also Imaginary, the other horror film that's out there that's been out for some time. A24's Love Lies Bleeding just really fell off after a while there. So that is it. This week we have Alex Garland's Civil War coming out this weekend. Oofa. I cannot wait for this movie. I've been dying for this movie. I can't wait. I'm a huge Alex Garland fan. I just went through a rewatch of pretty much his entire filmography, not just the movies he directed, but also the movies that he wrote for. Really great stuff. This could be, at least for the time being, the last movie he's going to direct, as he kind of shifts focus back to writing. So I'm really looking forward to see what this movie is going to do. I don't know if it's going to do well at the box office this weekend. I think at best maybe 20 million, 25 million. It's a from the trailers, you would think it's a controversial topic. I think they're not showing us everything. I don't think this is going to be a straight up kind of United States Civil War, uh, side versus side. I don't think it's going to be as politicized as people think it is, but of course, people are going to make it so. As if you're familiar with Alex Garland and how he does his stories and how he does his movies, there's going to be something there that's going to be like a twist, something that is the catalyst of what's happening here. It's really going to be a story about the reporters and their point of views on everything. I'm telling you, I think that's what the movie is really going to be about. We'll see. You'll hear my thoughts on it this Friday after I see it on Thursday. Again, I'm very excited for it, but I don't think it's going to make a huge dent on the box office unless you're going to have a lot of extreme right wingers or left wingers going out there and watching this movie to see if it is indeed a politicized movie. I'm pretty sure you're going to get a lot of that going on. So we'll see what happens. But I think at best, 25 million. If it does more than that, I'm happy for Alex Garland. But I would be really surprised if that's the case. So some guy zooming his camera to see a face by the moon looking ominous. Rust on the moon. Sharing name of blood translated. Ooh, a very important question. Are you a religious person? Just wondering. I was born and raised Roman Catholic. My family on my mom's side is extremely religious. I now am not. You know, when you get raised in a family that is very religious, of course they kind of mold you to follow the same beliefs and believe in all that stuff too. I went to Catholic school for a little while. I even went to Sunday classes. I was baptized. I had my confirmation, all that stuff. And then in my late teens, I formulated my own opinion, and as everyone should. And I decided that the Catholic religion is just not for me. There's a lot of things I don't believe in. I don't like the way they kind of profitize, if that's the word, out of your beliefs. And I don't believe in a lot of things that they stand for. So there's a lot of holes in a lot of stuff there. So I decided I respect it. And I respect my family that they do it, but I don't practice it anymore. I'm not saying I'm atheist. I choose not to practice it. You know, that's basically where I stand on all that stuff. All parents are extremely religious unless they were hippies. That's true. Or if they were hippies, then they would be spiritual. And they'll probably be having a lot of crystals around them and the like. So that's where I am. A lot of people always ask me, well, is it important for you to get married in a church? I think if you were to ask me that like 15 years ago, I would say yes. Now I would say not so much anymore. And if I were to ever bear children, well, I myself cannot bear children, but if I were to ever have a child or produce a child, I will not enforce any religion onto that child until they get to a certain age, and I'll have them choose what they want to do or what they want to believe in. So that gives you a good sense of where I stand with all that stuff. So, all right. Since we got that all out of the way, where are we at with all this stuff, with all this Eclipse stuff? Oh, Illinois, it looks like we are now experiencing, if you believe in that conspiracy theory, humanity should have been wiped out over in Illinois, and they're still there. They're still rocking and rolling. And Indiana wow. All right. I have to let everyone know I only got 2 hours worth of sleep last night. I just had a hard time sleeping, so my mind is just like you blew it! Indianapolis, Indiana. Looks like now they're getting their whole thing. So that's cool. People are applauding in Illinois. They're like, yay, we're alive. Humanity didn't get wiped out where we are. So we have that. And then outside my window, let's have it refresh there. Oh, it looks still, I guess we're still experiencing it a bit on our side. So the full sun has not returned yet. So there you go. I still don't feel any superpowers. I'm a little disappointed. Look at that shot from Indiana. That's great. See, that's the moment where you realize, okay, now I can fly. Or if I threw myself off a building, I will not die. Just saying. But that's beautiful. Look at that. That is exactly like from the TV show Heroes. Star-Lord, do you believe in aliens, Bigfoot, or ghost? Why do I feel like I'm sitting next to Peter Venkman? Why do I feel like I'm sitting across from Peter Venkman asking me all these questions? Let's see. How should I answer this? If by doing so means that there's a steady paycheck involved, I'll believe in anything you say. Thank you. Yeah. So that's where we are with the Eclipse. Oh, look, they're showing Niagara Falls again for some reason on the AP feed down here in the lower right. I don't know why. But yeah, that's interesting. Starla, how was your weekend? I hope you had a great weekend. Let me know when you have a chance. Starla, you were waiting for that answer? See, even on 2 hours sleep, I know my pop culture and I know my movies. And it took me a minute to get it all out, but I got it. I got there. So I'm proud. Now I'm going to drink my Celsius Live Fit or Live Fit or Fit Live. This thing. I don't drink energy drinks a lot, but this is the one that I found that I can really tolerate. It doesn't have like that metallic taste. It actually tastes pretty good. And apparently this has like, it accelerates your metabolism. It burns body fat, blah, blah, blah. Only 10 calories. And its sugar content is, because that's another thing. Like a lot of these energy drinks have so much sugar in it. No sugar. Look at that. At least I think there's no sugar. Wait, let me see. Vitamin C, 70%. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. No sugar. Live fit. Weekend was good, just fixing my house. Okay. Are you like renovating or just attending to some things that needed repair for a while? I'm going to be doing a lot of that myself soon, probably in the next couple of months. Some big changes happening on my end. I won't talk about it just yet, but yeah, big changes. Repair. Okay. Well, I hope all of that goes well. I know how hard that can be and annoying. So I hope that all goes well for you. All right. So let's see here. We've got the eclipse going on. We got humanity still holding it together. Nothing crazy or catastrophic happening. Still no powers on my end. Let's talk about some headlines, shall we? I think it's headline time. Headline time. Headline time. Pop culture, movies, streaming stuff. Talking about the latest news in the buff. I'm not buff. Maybe you're buff. I'm not buff. Who's buff? I don't know what I'm saying. So, this is a portion of the stream as normal or as usual, where I go about and cover some of the latest and greatest in news from the last couple of days. Why is Niagara Falls trending on the X? Oh, I see. They're about to reach complete darkness over at the Niagara Falls. Well, Niagara is like what, 9 hours from where I am. I wonder if, let's check out the camera. Let's see, are we getting darker here? Well, we're still kind of in the same shade of light. You can tell something's happening. So, you have that. All right, let's see. Let's check out to see if anything is happening out there in the news. I'm just looking through some of the latest that's come through my feed. Oh, the big deal for this week is that CinemaCon is happening this week. If you don't know what CinemaCon is, and I brought this up before, CinemaCon is a major event, trade event, where all the theater chain owners go to Vegas and they all come together, and all the studios give them presentations for all the upcoming projects and movies coming out in the next year or two. So expect there to be a lot of trailer drops this week, a lot of information about future movies down the pipe coming out. What's great is that sometimes the attendees get treated to screenings of movies that aren't out yet. So we could be potentially hearing about receptions for certain movies coming out. So a lot of fun, and I love this time of year. Again, we just had the Oscars, and now we have CinemaCon. So I can't wait to hear what's going to happen. What new things or exciting things are going to be coming out of CinemaCon this year. So, for example, Gina Davis is going to be receiving a Viola Davis Trailblazer Award at CinemaCon this year. There's just going to be a lot of things, I'm sure, that's going to be announced. So I can't wait to hear what's going to happen. Today, we had a good amount of trailers that dropped today. And maybe if we have time, maybe I'll go over some of those because a lot of interesting stuff for sure to kind of go over. Let's see here. What Eclipse superpowers do you want? I would love to be able to teleport if possible, or to phase through walls. If I could do that, that would be amazing. Flying is cool and all, but I feel like when you fly, you're too much of a target. You put too much attention to yourself. I like something that's like low-key that I could keep to myself. And when I use it, not a lot of people will be like on what I'm doing, right? So those are some of the things I would love. I would love to do. Or this is one superpower I wish I had for the longest of times. And I got the idea from, I believe it was either the 1980s Twilight Zone series, or there was an anthology series called Amazing Stories. And the main lady in it comes across this mystical clock from somewhere. And she puts on, it's like a clock that, or a pocket watch that she could wear as a necklace. And I think every time she puts it on, every time freezes around her, except herself. She can walk about time, no harm done, not, you can kind of disturb real time, but not really. But everything around you freezes, time freezes. So I wish I had the ability to do that, because what I would use it, how the way I would use it is that, let's say, for example, right now it's 3:15, right? Here on the East Coast. I just told you before I only had 2 hours worth of sleep. What I would do is after my stream, let's say it's 4 o'clock, stop time. I would take a nap or sleep for like 6 hours. Wake up, it's still 4 o'clock. But I'm all fully refreshed, and now I could do so much more in my day. That's the one way I would use it time and time again. Now, the only thing is, like, I don't know how it affects those who are frozen in time. So God forbid I stop time and I died in my sleep. Does that mean time is frozen forever? I don't know. So there is always, positives and negatives. But the way I would use it is that I would use it so that I can sleep without losing any parts of my day. So that's how I would use my power. What about you, Star-Lord? Let me know what power you'd love to have. All right. So, what was I doing? Oh, yeah. Headlines. Headlines. So guess what? We have some updates on Jonathan Majors. That's right. I'm over here at Vulture. Jonathan Majors sentenced to a batterers intervention program in domestic violence case. So there you go. Shortly before, Jonathan Majors was sentenced Monday, April 8th to an in-person batterers intervention program for his domestic violence case involving ex-girlfriend Grace Jabari. She described becoming a shell of a woman during their time together. His assault essentially left me unable to sleep, unable to eat, and experience a total loss of self-esteem, Jabari said. Jabari also recounted that when I was with him, I became a different version of myself. I was small, scared, and vulnerable. He is not sorry. He has not accepted responsibility, and he will do this again, and he will hurt other women, Jabari said. This is a man who believes he's above the law. As Jabari spoke, the side of Majors' face appeared to twitch. That means he got pissed off when she said that. The fallen Marvel star was convicted guilty of assault and harassment on December 18, 2023, following a 3-week trial. During the proceeding, prosecutors had asked for domestic violence programming or a 6-month jail sentence if Majors didn't comply with the mandate programming. Majors entered court around 9:45 a.m. today, sporting a navy and white pattern coat, under which was a double-breasted blazer and Steve Jobs-esque shirt. Wow, they're so descriptive of what he's wearing, as well as dramatic sunglasses. He carried a Bible, as per usual during his court proceedings, and could be seen leafing through pages prior to the judge's arrival. I feel like he's putting on an act. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Majors chose not to speak at his sentencing, with defense attorney Priya Chaudhry saying he feared any comments would be fodder for Jabari in her federal civil lawsuit against him filed on March 19th, 2024. Blah, 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 blah. This goes on about what happened previously in the trial. After blah, blah, blah. This is all talking about the events of what led to all of this. So I don't feel the need to recap all that. If you know, you know. In asking for an in-person domestic violence programming, prosecutor Kelly Galloway pointed to Majors' apparently unrepentant response to the conviction. Despite the jury's verdict, the defendant has still refused to accept any responsibility for his actions. In fact, after being convicted in this very courtroom, rather than show contrition for his actions, the defendant chose to engage in a high-powered public relations campaign, including a nationally broadcast television interview. Galloway said, during this campaign, the defendant not only maintained his innocence and denied his crimes, but has continued to disgrace Grace Jabari, the victim he abused, and publicly questioned the credibility of the fair trial he received, as well as legitimacy of the jury's verdict. The defendant's complete lack of remorse, as well as the pattern of abuse that Ms. Jabari testified to and discussed with the Department of Probation, make it all the more likely this defendant will reoffend without serious in-person intervention through domestic violence programming. Majors has faced other abuse allegations, and he has denied them. Chaudhry, who told the judge she was keeping her comments short due to the civil case, did say that Majors was working on himself. Since his arrest on March 25th, 2023, Mr. Majors has lost all of his employment opportunities. Chaudhry say, without question, this has been the most challenging year for Jonathan Majors' life, and I believe history will show a pivotal one. Mr. Majors had already taken it upon himself to embark upon counseling and therapy and continue to do so. We believe a sentence of continued counseling is appropriate here. Last quote of the article, what Grace Jabari did over the past year was incredibly brave and important. She overcame every obstacle put in her path to give honest, emotional public testimony in a court very far from her home. Ross Kramer, Jabari's attorney, said in a statement, Grace demonstrated that justice can be served in cases like this. Hopefully, her example will empower other survivors to break their silence and hold their abusers accountable. So there you go. I'm not surprised with this. I think Jonathan, or Mr. Majors, is lucky to get this type of sentence. He doesn't have to do any jail time. He has to go through pretty much, lack of a better term, rehab. Anger management. That's what he's going through. And I think, personally, I think he needs it. I think there is a lot of anger and rage within him. I don't know why. That is not for me to determine or any of us to determine. I think that's something that he just needs to figure out on his own. And the only reason why I say I feel that is because of the way he carries himself on set from accounts that I've heard from other people during interviews and all that. He's a very intense guy. And in order to get into some of these roles, he puts himself in this space that sounds or looks to be kind of dark in a way. It is what it is. Every actor has their thing. Also, I did cover that interview that he did with Good Morning America. And I don't know. I agree. It didn't look like he took any accountability. In fact, it just looked like he was a huge narcissist. The things that were said on voicemails and expectations he has for his partners is just ridiculous. And I think if anything, he feels sorry that he messed up because now his entire career got ruined. That's what I feel. So it is what it is. I'm hoping whatever program he attends will do him well. And hopefully he can eventually pick himself up later on down the line. So we'll see what happens there. But we finally have, I feel like now we could finally close the chapter on all of this. I'm sure, in 6 months' time when he's out of it, I'm sure that's when the news outlets will pick this stuff back up again. And then we'll see where it goes from there. But as of right now, all of Jonathan Majors' stuff, his movies, everything he was attached to has been pretty much canceled or put on hold. I think he's completely done. He is completely done with the MCU. And that was his big ticket right there. It's unfortunate, but we've seen in Hollywood that people can go through things like this and then make a comeback. Mel Gibson was able to slowly do it. Kevin Spacey now is slowly starting to do it. Yeah, it's not going to be at the same height that they were at. This guy was really at highest levels of his career. Being in the MCU, being in the Creed franchise, being in multiple projects that were very highly talked about. And it's all been taken away. So hopefully this is a learning lesson to him. We'll see. We'll see what happens. It is pretty unfortunate, though, for the most part. Star-Lord, I want the movie ticket from Last Action Hero. Jump in and out of the movie universe. That's a great one. That's a really, really good one. That's a good one because, again, that could mean you could jump in and out of any movie. Think about it. I'll leave it at that. But that's a good one. I've never heard anyone bring that up. And even though that movie wasn't that great, that was like a cool little thing that you were able to do in that movie. So Okay, I could see from outside it's getting much darker now. So I feel like we're finally getting it on our end. See, so or at least it's like passing over in a way. Let's see where we are over at oh yeah. Look at that. New York is now fully in the dark. There you go. Tupper Lake, New York, Niagara Falls, this is. And look at that view over here. That looks fantastic. That's like a still image, though. It's not live video. But it looks like it's that all said and done now at Niagara. So everyone's like packing up, calling it a day. But humanity is still intact. I don't see any catastrophes. I don't see people, losing their minds. Everyone seems to be calm, cool, collected. Except for this guy standing in front of the camera. How dare you, sir? But everyone looks like they're having a fun time. So, good on everybody. I still don't feel any superpowers on me. A little disappointed by that. And right now, it's an interesting shade of light we have going on right now in my area. It really does. I'm sure whatever people are looking at outside there, it looks gorgeous, I'm sure. All right. Let's go on to other bits of news here. So some interesting news from Daredevil came about this past weekend. Some fun news, too, I will say. First, we'll start off with this bit of news about Daredevil filming. So if you are aware, if you've been following, they are currently filming Daredevil Born Again, which is a series that's coming out on Disney Plus. It's gone through a whole different type of changes, script changes, season length changes, you name it. There's a lot of stuff going on. One thing that they've been doing right, at least from what it sees or what it seems, is they're getting a lot of people that were involved with Netflix's Daredevil coming back. I'm talking about characters and actors and actresses. So you had the entire, like from what it looks like, the majority of people from the Daredevil series is coming back. Then there are also rumors and photos that we've seen that, Barenthal's Punisher is going to be making an appearance. Possibly we're getting Jessica Jones too in it. And then there were words coming out that filming is wrapped. So I'm here on Dark Horizons. And it says here, the other day came the news that Daredevil Born Again had wrapped filming, with photos from the production's wrap party having gone up. The news was surprising considering what had happened. The series began filming early 2023 for an 18-episode production that was to shoot for effectively the whole year. Then the strikes halted things after only a few episodes were filmed. During the downtime, Disney opted to creatively overhaul the project, with the plan being to use some footage of what was already shot, along with new footage to be filmed alongside all new episodes. It was not clear how many episodes the new run would consist of. Filming on the retooled show began in late January, so a wrap just over 2 months later seems fast. Now, an apparent social media posting from stunt coordinator Philip J. Silvera, according to Daredevil Updates, seems to confirm something that makes more sense. Turns out the wrap is for the first half of the series. From the sounds of it, Disney will be splitting the season into 2 separate blocks of presumably 9 episodes each to match the original 18-episode series order. Whereas the first block will have to deal with being a bit of a mishmash of both footage from the now abandoned original version of the revival, along with tying up loose ends from the original Netflix series. The second block will essentially allow the Mouse House to take the show into whatever direction it wants. At least some episodes of Daredevil Born Again are expected to premiere next year. Check out some more set photos from the end of the first half filming below. Look at that. You got Daredevil and Punisher back together. Oh, that looks freaking cool, man. That looks great. That looks like it's, oh man, that looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. So yeah, this bit of news dropping. And then we find out that Vanessa, the actress who plays Vanessa, is back in the new Daredevil series. A new set photo from Daredevil Born Again has emerged and confirmed a casting reversal decision has been made in regards to the show. A photo taken by Steve Sands of New York Newswire has confirmed that Ayelet Zurer will reprise her role of Vanessa Fisk from the prior Daredevil series. The photo captures her and Vincent D'Onofrio's Wilson Fisk talking outside a building, both dressed rather impeccably too. When the Daredevil Born Again revival was announced, one surprise was the recasting of Vanessa with Better Call Saul and Mr. Robot actress Sandrine Holt taking over the role. Zero shared an article about her recasting shortly after the news broke, adding the caption, sad to not take part, but I will always be Vincent D'Onofrio's biggest fan. Then the series was paused by the strikes and underwent, and recap, blah, blah, blah. Whether it was scheduling issues or not isn't clear. Either way, it seems Holt is out and Zero is back in as Kingpin's Vanessa, beloved wife. She joins fellow returnees Deborah Ann Wall, Eldon Henson, John Bernthal, and Wilson Bethel. So that's awesome. So like I said, it sounds like you have the entire original cast finally back in Daredevil. And I wouldn't have it any other way. I think that's a great choice. I think it's smart for Netflix. Sorry, not Netflix. For Disney and Marvel to do this. Because it keeps it consistent and it keeps the fans happy. Plus, why change what's not broken? Why fix? How does the saying go? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Right? I thought the original Daredevil series on Netflix was perfect the way it was. You had a lot of great talent attached to it, great story, great action, great plots all around. All you have to do is just take that over and now put it under the new MCU under Disney. That's it. You don't have to change a lot. If anything, maybe there's some things that will help you change the story so that it could gel with whatever potential storylines you're trying to tell and associate him with. But you really didn't have to change much of anything. So I'm glad and I'm happy that they finally made up their minds. And it sounds like we're going to get a proper continuation from the Netflix series, hopefully in tone as well. Time will tell. We'll see. But I'm very happy about it. If I haven't mentioned it before, Daredevil, ever since I was like a teenager, was one of my favorite Marvel characters in the comic books. I love Daredevil. I love that even though, yes, he does have a power, he's very grounded, right? And I love that he's a guy that has all this willpower, never gives up. And there's just something about him and the mystique that he carries with him that I've always loved. I've always really loved. So I'm a huge Daredevil fan, and nothing beats the first time I watched that Netflix series. Oh my gosh, it was almost perfection. It was so good, So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that we can get that similar tone transferred over because, man, that series was so good. So good. All right. What else we got here? Oh, we got some date changes here from Disney. So I'm here on the Hollywood Reporter. First of all, before I do that, how's it looking outside? I think my image is frozen. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Okay, there we go. We just got refreshed. And yeah, it's looking okay. Like I said, I'm not seeing any explosions. I'm not seeing any airplanes falling down from the sky. No UFOs just yet. I'm not hearing any trumpets in the air. No other follow-up earthquakes happening. So far, humanity is doing okay. We're surviving. We're surviving, y'all. And right now it looks like they're showing Maine and all. So there you go. There you have it. All right. Let's talk Disney dates. If I feel an earthquake, I'm kidding. I think we'll be fine. All right, Disney sets Toy Story 5, Mandalorian and Grogu for 2026, delays live-action Moana by an entire year. Jared Leto's Tron Ares also gets a date amid a slew of changes. Woody and the Buzz have a date to return to theaters. Disney will release Pixar's Toy Story 5 on June 19, 2026, the studio announced on Friday. Disney CEO Bob Iger first announced Toy Story 5 in February 2023, with the sequel an attempt to return to form for the franchise after the disappointing performance of the 2022 spin-off Lightyear, which sucked. It really did. It was boring. Which voice starred Chris Evans. Toy Story has spanned 4 mainline films dating back to 1995, with the most recent installment topping $1 billion at the box office in 2019. The features have voice starred Tom Hanks and Woody and Tim Allen as Buzz Lightyear. Get out of here, video ad. I hate you. Toy Story 5's date with theaters was among a slew of changes and additions made to the Disney release calendar. The studio also pushing Dwayne Johnson's live-action remake of Moana by a year to July 10, 2026. It was previously slated for June 27, 2025. The move gives the remake breathing room from the animated Moana 2, which opens this November. I also think they have to work with The Rock's schedule, given how busy he is with WWE right now. So I'm pretty sure there was a lot of conversation about that. The studio also confirmed that the Star Wars feature The Mandalorian and Grogu will bow May 22, 2026, as had been speculated. The Mandalorian creator Jon Favreau is directing the film, which spins out of his Disney Plus show and stars Pedro Pascal. It is a particularly important feature as Lucasfilm seeks to return Star Wars to the big screen for the first time since 2019's The Rise of Skywalker. While the franchise has thrived on Disney Plus, multiple attempts to relaunch it as big screen property has fizzled in development. In other news, Jared Leto's star Tron Ares opens October 10, 2025. The film follows the 1982 cult classic Tron and 2010's Tron Legacy with a kick-ass soundtrack by Daft Punk. I'm adding that in there because that's the one thing I really love about that movie. While previous films have centered on a character going inside a computer, the new installment is said to take place mostly in the real world as an AI escapes its digital confines. Oh my gosh! Everyone's nightmares have come to fruition. Meanwhile, 20th Century's The Amateur, starring Rami Malek and Rachel Brosnahan, has been pushed from November 8, 2024 to April 11, 2025. We are leaning into our unrivaled brands, Iger said, in 2023 when they announced Toy Story 5 as among a number of sequels in the works, including more from Zootopia and Frozen. So there you go. I just think they are really doing their best to make sure that they set the landscape up for success. And as he mentioned in the past, he really wants to put a lot of focus on their major IPs. They know what works and they want to do more of it. Moana was a huge hit. They want more Moana. Toy Story has always been a consistent hit. More Toy Story. Even though I thought the fourth part should have never been made, I didn't like it as much. I thought Toy Story 3 had a perfect ending. And then now we had Toy Story 4. So whatever they do, Toy Story 5, I'm sure a lot of people go out and see it. Zootopia, I I guess I could kind of see it, but Frozen, that's a no-brainer. And of course, Mandalorian and Grogu, huge important film for Star Wars. If this does well, that gives them the confidence again to really push out more Star Wars films. If it's mediocre, all right, maybe we could still do some. If it doesn't do well at all, I guarantee you there's going to be another push or delay in pushing out Star Wars related films. So we'll see what happens. So we got some interesting dates there lined up that could be exciting to see. I'm coming out like John Cena, and I don't mean Oscars. like in WrestleMania, you're gonna come out, rush the ring. Okay, hold on a second. Why is my eyes trending on X right now? You see this right here? Is it because a lot of people are looking at the Eclipse without the glasses? Damn, so Eclipse looks mind-blowing beautiful from space. Can't take my eyes off it. What's all this stuff? Lord Miguel, forgive me more. What's going on here? All right, you know what? I don't care. People are weird. Oh, I hear sirens. I thought, oh, is there an apocalypse happening because of the eclipse? Let's see. No, but we're still in that interesting shade of light. So something definitely still happening out there. No explosions, no fires. From what I can tell, still no planes falling from the sky. I think we're good. I think we're in good shape. AP has some lady speaking, not showing anything. Let's see what NASA is showing. NASA. For some reason, NASA has a thing for Mexico. Oh, here we go. Carbondale, Illinois. Oh, this is a beautiful shot they got here. Here, let me switch over. Look at that. That's some heavy filtering going on over there. Heavy filtering. But that looks beautiful. You could even see it moving too, if you really pay attention to it. That's gorgeous. Good stuff. Hopefully humanity is still intact in Illinois as that's going on. All right. Let's see what else we got in news to talk about things. There's an article here about Epic Games. Because as you know, Epic is now under the Disney umbrella. And it talks about Disney bolsters video game executive ranks. Disney gaming chief Sean Shoptaw has been promoted, with Blizzard and Ubisoft veterans joining as senior executives. So they're really taking seriously this whole Epic Games thing. So I'm sure that's going to be very interesting to see how all of that's going to pan out. Star Wars Outlaws, we are expected to get a brand new trailer tomorrow. And here is a poster so far that we were given. Brief clips showcasing gameplay footage, but now Ubisoft and Lucasfilm Games have announced a Tuesday, April 9th launch of the story trailer for the anticipated Star Wars Outlaws video game from Ubisoft. So there you go. We haven't heard much about this since the last time we saw that footage, which looked kind of interesting, if I'm to be completely honest. So it'll be cool to see more of that as it is revealed. So we'll see when that happens. Other bits of news here and there. I mean, here's an interesting article here. And it ties in very well with the kind of narrative I've been giving as far as the current state of video games. And I've had my rants in the past about the state of the video game market right now. How this current gen, or at least the last two gens that we've had, doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And one of the biggest things that I find troublesome is that you have so many games coming out with very little time to play them all. And a lot of these games are long games, games that take forever. I've been playing Persona 3 Reload. It's the first time that I've been playing a Persona game, and it's so damn long. So damn long. I've already clocked in, I kid you not, over 100 hours in this damn game. And I'm still not done with it. And it's ridiculous how long this game can be, you know? And I'm not the kind of guy who like wants to just breeze through everything. I want to understand the story I'm playing. So of course I'm paying attention to a lot of things. But this is a common thing that I hear from a lot of people, how a lot of these games are way too long. Not only that, a lot of the games are very expensive. $70 now a pop. You know, when you have like 3 or 4 games that are interesting coming out in a month, you can't afford all of that. And I know, you know, we're saying games are expensive now, but we were spoiled for a while. Games were like $49.99, $59.99. You know, it's a cycle. We also experienced this like in the 16-bit generation. The first time a 16-bit game, like a cartridge for Super Nintendo that hit like $70, we were just like, oh, how could you? You know, but we adapted, and then things went back to normal, and then things went up again. So I've been saying for the longest time that I cannot keep up with new games. And I've chosen not to play a lot of new games these days. What I'm doing now is I'm going backwards. I'm going back because I own a lot of games that I have never had a chance to finish or even play at all. Yeah, and I'm talking about games that came out like during the 360 era, the PS3 era, even the PS2, and way even before that. I have a library, a list, a queue of games on Super Nintendo, Genesis, Saturn, PlayStation, so on and so forth that I have been wanting to play, but I have never had a chance to. And since I already own them, I want to go back and do it because a lot of these games don't take a long time to play. Some games I can just easily hop in and out and not worry about not being able to sit down for 4 hours at a time to play them. That's also another reason why I like Helldivers 2, because I can just pop in, play a couple of hours with my friends, pop out, and not have to worry about anything. It's funner that way. So when I came across this article, I was just like, oh my God, it's not just me. It really does feel like there is this overall feeling that I have about gaming today. And a lot of people are kind of doing the same thing. So I'm back here on Dark Horizons. Most gamers playing pre-2018 titles. In times past, there were often a steady clip of new major AA and AAA video games coming out from a range of publishers. That seems to have died off somewhat in the 2020s thus far as the live service gaming trend has taken hold and the expense of making games have become prohibitive to the point that there seems to be fewer major releases than ever before. Now, Newzoo, via Kotaku, has released its second annual Games Industry Report, which suggests some potential reasoning as to why this is happening thanks to data showcasing consumer spending and gameplay in this sector in 2023. It turns out new games are having a hard time breaking through as players are spending more time in already established franchises and live service games. In fact, just 66 game titles accounted for 80% of all computer game playtime in 2023, and 60% of all playtime was for games made before 2018. 27% of all playtime in 2023 went on just 5 games in particular: Fortnite, Grand Theft Auto 5, League of Legends, Minecraft, and Roblox. 23% of playtime went on annualized sequels like FIFA or Madden. Just 8% went to new non-annual games, which would include titles like Diablo 4, Baldur's Gate 3, and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Just one dedicated single-player game, Starfield, made the top 10 playtime list across console platforms, with most slots going to usual suspects like GTA 5, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Counter-Strike, Apex Legends, The Sims 4, Valorant, Rocket League, and Fall Guys. Fortnite took the top spot on every platform. I'm so surprised so many people still play Counter-Strike. And Apex Legends. That's amazing. The report indicates that gamers are spending less and less time in new games and more in already established franchises and live service titles, making it harder for publishers and developers to find an audience with new titles. Finally, the report indicates the game industry grew by 2.6% in 2023 to reach an astonishing $93.5 billion in revenue. I wonder how much of that revenue the live service stuff is accounted for. I'm very curious. Let's see here. Star-Lord, I'll be like Beetlejuice and say, hey there, goes Elvis. I'll use my movie ticket and throw you in. Nothing's going to happen. We're fine. Everything's fine here. How are you? Look, let's look out the window one more time. See? No UFOs, no downed planes, no explosions, no fires, no derailments. I'm right by the train tracks. I felt no tremors. I have no powers. That's the only downside. Everything seems to be fine. Everything seems to be fine. So I think we're in good hands today. There's no catastrophic events. Humanity still seems to be intact. In fact, let's look at the latest live feed from NASA. This is how it looks like here in not here, but over there in Ohio. What up, Ohio? Looking very pretty in the sky. So that's Ohio. How about the AP? What does the AP have? Here's the 4 camera. You got, this is not a live feed. Hold on. Are they even live anymore? Wait a minute. No, they're not. What the hell? What the hip hop hell? What the hip hop and R&B is going on over here? That's supposed to be the New York feed? That looks terrible. Oh, just kidding. Wow. Some of these feeds have really took a dive, huh? All right. We'll just stick with NASA for now then. But where are they now? Where is this? Ball State U? Ball State.
Wow. I'm gonna come.
You have, look at this. 359,000 people watching this particular feed. That's amazing. Good old NASA. Indiana. You got Indiana in there. Cleveland. Good stuff. Everything seems to be going well. And humanity remains to be intact, which is the most important thing. All right. Just looking at some of these other headlines here. Some of these other headlines, I mean, they're interesting to talk about, but at the same time, oh, you know what? This did ring out to me. So if you remember a couple of weeks ago, I mentioned that I I watched this series on Max called Quiet on Set, and it talks about the Nickelodeon programming of the 90s and Dan Schneider, the big producer guy, and how a lot of stuff about how he treated or mistreated a lot of people behind the scenes, how those in his employment ended up becoming PDFs, targeting children, the trauma the children have experienced, the trauma that female employees, especially like the two female writers, what they experienced working under Dan Schneider, a lot of stuff, right? And the one thing I mentioned was, and this was a confusion on my part, is that they had Marc Summers for like a brief moment, right? And the only moment that they had was they handed him the iPad, the tablet, to watch a lot of the clips of the Ariana Grande web stuff that they filmed. And it's like very sexualized. You know, she's a kid and she's like playing with her feet, pouring water on herself. And this was all like in comedy, right? And he made a comment. It's like, they actually aired this on TV. They thought this was okay to air. And that was the only comment he had during the whole thing. But in their marketing, they really had him big on display. Even though a lot of this stuff took place pretty much after his time. Because Double Dare was really big in the 80s, right? And maybe early 90s, but when like all that started coming out, the Amanda Show, all that was pretty much after that period already. So when I saw this headline, I was like, oh, wait, this is interesting. So I'm back here on the Hollywood Reporter. Quiet on Set directors deny Marc Summers' claim of being ambushed by Nickelodeon Doc. The former Double Dare host said he walked off the set of ID's hit docuseries. So that explains a lot already to me, why we probably didn't see a whole lot with him, which is so fascinating. Quiet on Set, the Dark Side of Kids TV co-directors Mary Robertson and Emma Schwartz have denied Marc Summers' claim that he was ambushed into appearing on the Investigation Discovery docuseries. We are clear with each participant about the nature of our projects, the Helmers said in a statement to the Hollywood Reporter on Friday. Their response comes shortly after the former Double Dare host appeared on the Elvis Duran show. Elvis Duran is still around? Wow. That is a name I haven't heard since the Z100 Zoo Crew days here in New York, where he alleged that the directors did not disclose the nature of the feature, which launched May 17 and 18 to big viewership when asking him to appear. Quote, I got called by these folks saying they wanted to do a documentary on Nickelodeon, and so I said, sure, he explained. Summers said that while being interviewed for what has become a hit docuseries, he made positive comments about his time on the network, but claimed that Quiet on Set directors did a bait and switch on him. They ambushed me, he claimed. They never told me what this documentary was about, and so they showed me a video of something that I couldn't believe was on Nickelodeon, and I said, whoa, let's stop the tape right here. What are we doing? He said the Quiet on Set team then explained what the nature of the series was about, a piece that would go on to uncover allegations from former creator-producer Dan Schneider's reign at the network as showrunner for various hit shows, as well as Brian Peck, a former dialogue coach, sexually assaulting Drake and Josh star Drake Bell. Summers decided to leave the production, saying it wasn't what he'd signed up for. Quote, I got a phone call about 6 weeks ago saying you're totally out of the show, and I went great, recalled Summers. Then they called me about 4 weeks ago and said, well, you're in it, but you're only in the first part of it because you talked about the positive stuff about Nickelodeon. He continued, what they didn't tell me, and they lied to me about, was the fact that they put in the other thing where they had the camera on me when they ambushed me. So now we get into a whole situation about who's unethical. Summers also said he never met Schneider, as those people came in after Double Dare and took over the Nickelodeon studios when his stint as host had wrapped up. He said the only person he knew who was on the network during Schneider's time there was Kenan Thompson. But as far as anything that happened mentioned on Quiet on Set, to any of those people, he never met any of them. Summers' comments come 2 days before the premiere of Quiet on Set's bonus 5th episode, Breaking the Silence, which will feature interviews with returning former Nickelodeon stars Belle, along with Giovanni Samuels and Brian Christopher Hearn, and a new interview with All That alum Shane Lyons, who will be speaking for the first time on his experiences at the network. There's a whole system that's even bigger than our story, and we really are seeing a movement form about what should happen next in our industry. Schwartz recently told THR in a chat about the impact of Quiet on Set and why they mobilized to quickly deliver another episode. We're devoted to telling the story. We're passionate about the telling of the story. We don't think we're done telling the story, added Robertson. So they have a bonus episode, which I haven't seen yet. But I have to say that this explains a lot as to why Marc Summers wasn't on the documentary. And that whole little tidbit that he had was just so weird. That put into light a little bit as to why that was all there and why it was confusing to me. Look, I'll say this. Who to believe, I don't know. But I could see truths on both ends of things. And it doesn't make sense for Marc Summers to be on there. I think when I saw him when I was watching the documentary, I was surprised because I'm like, this doesn't make sense to me because he wasn't part of that era. So whatever the case is, look, does it negate what they uncovered and what they were discussing? It shouldn't. Did them doing what they did to Marc Summers, if it's true, was it all for dramatic effect or for, kind of leading the narration a certain path? I'm pretty sure a lot of documentaries do that. Whether you know it or whether you like it or not. It is what it is. I think at the end of the day, it just explains, at least a little bit to me, why he wasn't on it and what that little small snippet was. I think if anything, they may have done him dirty by keeping that raw footage in there when that wasn't supposed to be part of the interview. But that's a genuine reaction, though. And you could see it in his face that he was just wondering, like, what the hell is this? They should have gotten his permission to do that. I will say that. But it should not negate the overall subject matter that was covered. And I will be checking out that bonus episode this week. And more than likely, I'll talk about it on Wednesday. So there you go. So Elvis, somebody get my autograph. Not that Elvis. Elvis Duran. Very famous radio personality. Nick. Nickelodeon. Show us your feet. So there are some villain rumors running around, as the internet does, surrounding James Gunn's Superman. And of course, as James Gunn will do, he went to the internet to squash all those rumors. Here at Dark Horizons, while filming well underway on James Gunn's Superman, the rumors about what's coming in the film haven't stopped. Numerous comic book news and rumor sites, YouTube channels, social media accounts, and Reddit threads have posted a story in recent days suggesting that David Cornsweet's Kal-El will face cloned evil version of himself. A cloned evil version of himself? I have not heard of this. As the rumors spread, Gunn himself has taken time out to intercede, debunking the talk and saying in a posting on Threads that the film has a very basic protagonist-antagonist relationship. In addition, he slams the rumor generation that's taking place and reminds people nothing is true until he confirms it. Quote, the primary protagonist in Superman is shockingly Superman. The main villain of Superman is shockingly Lex Luthor. I don't know where all the stuff is coming from, that it's something other than this. There are so many stories coming out every day, it's difficult to deal with, and every time I strike something down, I'm giving it attention. So I'll say again, don't believe anything unless you see it here. And why would you want to know everything before the movie comes out anyway? Filming began on February 29th, and in terms of how much has been shot, Gunn says we're probably only 18% or so through it. As for when we'll see the reveal of Cornsweet in costume, Gunn said, I'm almost ready to show it to you. Filming on the new Superman is expected to last through late August. The film itself opens in cinemas in July. So, I think with CinemaCon this week, don't be surprised if we do get a costume reveal with Cornsweet in the costume this week. Something to whet the appetites of movie studio people, movie theater owners. Something to get them excited for the DCU all over again. I won't be surprised if we get that kind of reveal this week. And it probably behooves them to do so, because you want people to get excited for this new reign of DCU. You want people to get excited and feel like you're doing something right. And again, Superman is your tentpole character. You want to make sure you do him justice and people are happy with how he looks, especially with the casting of David Cornsweet, which people were kind of like 50-50 on. But then again, everyone's always 50-50 on. It's very rare that you get a casting that everyone's like, boom, they nailed it. Very rare to get that. It is what it is. So yeah. So I won't be surprised if this week we get to find out, oh, look, David Cornsweet is in the Superman outfit. Here's the first look. And if we do get that, that'll be truly, truly exciting. All right. I think I'm done with headlines for today. I think the last thing I will talk about really quickly that I forgot to mention was that SNL. So Kristen Wiig returned to SNL over the weekend. And I think this was one of the funniest SNLs we got in this season. She came back. This is her 5th time hosting. She did a really great job. They brought in so many people to be with her on the show. John Hamm. You had Paul Rudd. They had Matt Damon, who was pretty hilarious there. And other people that the names are escaping me right now. But it really goes to show you how funny of a lady she is. She is such a funny comedian, a comedic actress. Her skits are downright hilarious. Like, there wasn't really a dull skit, in my opinion. And every time they bring someone back like that, I always get concerned. Like, okay, don't rehash all of your characters. Because right now, she even has this like Target campaign going on. Because she's known for playing the Target lady. And she's like in all the Target ads right now. Even on the app, if you go on the Target app, you see her everywhere on the app. And she's doing her usual, like, oh my God. You know, all that stuff like that. And it's funny. But I was afraid it was going to be too much and too overbearing. And they didn't rely on a lot of her old characters in this SNL. You know, she did a lot of new stuff, which was great. And it looks like everyone was just having a good time. So I highly recommend, if you haven't had a chance to see it, definitely check it out. Or, great thing again about YouTube, all of the clips for all of the skits are on the SNL YouTube channel. So you can just check it out there anytime you want. So really good stuff. And a really hilarious weekend update where they covered the earthquake, the New York earthquake. And it's so fitting because it's WrestleMania weekend, how they had like a promo of the earthquake versus the eclipse, and as if they were kind of trying to one up each other. It was so funny. So funny. I don't know who wrote a lot of the sketches for this new SNL, but one of the returning people that they highlighted to kind of celebrate Kristen Wiig's 5th appearance as host was a former writer. So I won't be surprised if that writer wrote a lot of the sketches, because it was a funny ass show. And in some of the previous shows, it would be like half and half. And other shows will just be like downright awful from beginning to end. So they're definitely suffering on the writing side of things. I don't know who's in the writing room right now, like what it consists of. But if bringing this lady back for this episode helped make this episode really funny, maybe they should consider having her come back every now and then, because this past episode was really great. I didn't bother even watching the Rami Youssef one because I just didn't have the time to watch it, and I didn't feel like going back. But I had to watch Kristen Wiig come back, and it was really good, really, really good. So I want to watch SNL. Why does NYC hat look like an eclipse? Don't start putting your own like conspiracy theories out there. It does not. Speaking of which, let's see how it is outside. Let's take a look. Let's wait for the camera to refresh, and there it is. Oh, we got more clouds coming in. So if anything, maybe the eclipse created more clouds in the neighborhood. Still pretty dark. Pretty dark for 4:12 p.m. for the afternoon. But I'll emphasize again. No derailments. No fires. No explosions. No downplanes. Doesn't look like there's any chaos outside. No, I am not an eclipse spy.
You blew it! Yeah!
I am not. But everything looks fine outside for now. Let's take one more look at NASA and their live feed, which has ended. So I guess the eclipse is over. But these are the last bits of footage that we got. Cleveland, Ohio, looking pretty over there. You know, let's see what we got. That's it. It's over. It's over, Johnny. It's over. Where's this? This looks like a fun place to be. Lake Center something? They have like a little fun setup there. Oh, it's the Great Lakes Science Center. Woo! That looks like a really fun place to be. I wouldn't mind visiting there. That looks like a lot of fun. All right, y'all. I am going to call it for the day. I know it was an afternoon stream that a lot of you are not familiar with, or a lot of you are not used to, since I usually do mornings or later on at night on Wednesdays now. But thank you for tuning in, whether you did a drive-by or you hopped in for a quick minute, or if you're like someone like Star-Lord, who always shows up and supports, which I always appreciate. The eclipse has come and gone. I still don't feel like any powers have washed over me, but maybe there's a delay. Maybe I'll wake up tomorrow and I have phased through my bed and I'm now in the basement. I don't know. Or maybe I've learned to fly and I'll wake up with my head banging against the ceiling. Or maybe time has frozen. I don't know. I'll let all of you know if everything turns out okay on Wednesday, when I'll be back live starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will make sure to talk about the latest stuff that I've watched. If there is a binge of the week, I'll make sure to talk about it. Any of the latest news, headlines, all that good stuff as always. But I thank you for you tuning in. If you're watching on the replay, thank you so much. As always, don't forget, like, dislike, subscribe, share the word, spread the word. Become a member for only $1 a month. You could be a friend of the channel. Show your support that way if you want to see more of this stuff. More of this type of content.
You blew it!
And like I said before, I promise new tier rollouts will happening, which will be fun and exciting. It's all going to happen. One last thing from Star-Lord. He is like the eclipse of live streams. The darkness has ended. It's over. And I'm over. Well, the show will be over. So, all that being said, see you again on Wednesday. Stay cool, stay classy, stay safe. See you next time. Peace out, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll see you next time. Bye, everybody. Oh my God, is that a UFO?